Hey, it's me. We're joined by a world-renowned singer-songwriter, John Gorka. He began in the coffeehouse scene, a place called the Godfrey Daniels up in Pennsylvania. Rolling Stone once called him the preeminent male singer-songwriter of the new folk music. He's released an album, True in Time, on Redhouse Records, and his songs have been covered by the likes of Mary Chapin Carpenter, Nanci, Griffith, just to name a few. It's great to have you here.
Well, thank you for having me on.
Our pleasure. So, what has always been the purpose with the art that you create?
I think for me, music has been my way to become a more social person, maybe a more complete person. Because I've always been shy and socially awkward. So music was the way to connect with people I wasn't able to connect with without music.
This is album, is it 14 or 15?
I think it's 14. Yeah, there was a record called Pure John Gorka, which was kind of a collection of music from my time at Windham Hill High Street Music.
So through the years with you releasing these albums, has the purpose behind recording them changed in any ways?
I don't know. I don't think it has changed. It seems like I guess of the three things I do, I write songs, I play music for people in live situations, and recording. So the recording is probably the thing I've had the least number of hours doing, but I think the purpose is trying to catch something special, maybe even the moment of creation in the recording studio. Sometimes when I play something, best is the first time I play it. So if we can capture that kind of that moment of creation, that's the aim, I think.
Is it intimidating to make a record, to make something that's so permanent?
It's one of those things. It's just kind of like scary fun. I try to. It's scary in the fact that you like with this record, we had scheduled to do almost everything in 3 days with the musicians, and so it was kind of a lot of pressure going into it to have have the studio and the musicians kind of setting aside their time in order to help me make a record. But I'm paying for that time. Last few records I've tried to have my own label and then license the record to Redhouse Records. So that means there's more financial pressure on me I have to pay more to make the records, but at least I own the masters. That's because all the records I did for Windham Hill High Street Records, I don't have the rights to. I don't own the masters. So, and they don't even manufacture the CDs anymore, and one of them is not even available through download. So it's kind of a newer way of doing things, but at least I own the masters.
Mm-hmm. Well, the title track of this album, True in Time, what does that mean to you?
I was thinking it could mean a number of things. I liked it as a title, but it could be true, something that will come true eventually, or something that can come true in the nick of time. And also, there's one other one. Let's see if I can remember what it was. True in time in terms of like rhythm or tempo. Is it true in does it scan? Does it have a rhythm?
Is there a favorite song from this album?
I think probably, I guess maybe Mennonite Girl is maybe my favorite. There's other ones like my favorite track is probably Tattooed, because I love the sounds on that, and I love the solo of the keyboard solo and the pedal steel solo. Because this was made, like the old-fashioned way, with everybody playing and me singing with everybody, and to have those guys come up with those parts and be a part of that was pretty something special. So I'd say Mennonite Girl for the song and Tattooed for the track.
I want you to take us back a little bit. You mentioned that you were pursuing music kind of as a way of communicating with people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So when you started out, what did you think about the moments before you appeared in front of a crowd for the very first time? Was it nerve-wracking? What were you thinking about? How did that feel?
Oh, it was nerve-wracking then. It's nerve-wracking now. It's never been anything else.
But what makes you do it?
I think I was drawn to performing more than I was comfortable doing it, and then over time I've kind of come to terms with my own discomfort, and it's I think it's what I've always wanted to do. When I first saw the performers I saw at Godfrey Daniels, I felt like their music was great, and even if they weren't the best known or playing the biggest rooms, they could really make magic in a coffee house. And I felt like if I could be like one of the people who plays here, then that would be the best thing.
The late rock and roll frontman and singer Greg Allman from the Allman Brothers band. He said all of the many, many shows that he did in front of huge crowds, he never, ever stopped being nervous the moment before.
Yeah, it's terrible. The last few minutes before us. Then once I'm out there and I've played a few songs, and I kind of can settle down and enjoy playing.
Well, what's the most gratifying thing about performing?
Well, I think my friend Cheryl Wheeler said, it's a pretty good job if people clap for you when you show up for work, and when they clap for when you're done at the end of your day. So that's pretty great.
One of the incredible things about this path that you have chosen as a singer, songwriter, entertainer, you get to encounter people that they're legends. I want you to tell us maybe a story or two about some of the folk legends that you have encountered on the road.
Let's see. I've gotten to, for my first record, Dave Van Ronk wrote the liner notes for that. And he was one of the people who, everything kind of, for me, started at Godfrey Daniels. And people I opened shows for opened doors for me in other parts of the country. And opening for Jack Hardy at Godfrey Daniels in June of '79, and then again in, I think, January of '84, I became a part of the New York fest folk scene, and I got to be around a lot of really, really talented people who were from my generation, and there was also people from the earlier generation, Tom Paxton and Dave Van Ronk, who really took an interest in the new people, the younger people who were coming up, and that were very, very encouraging. So that was a pretty meant something special to me. And also I'm a part of the Swananoa gathering on the Contemporary Folk Week this year for the first time, and Tom Paxton is going to be there. I think maybe Janice Ian as well. So to be able to hang out with people like that, who've had so much experience and are so generous with their time for people who are kind of finding their way. Those are a couple, I'd say. Some other people I've gotten to meet along the way. I got to, this was when I was in school. I got to meet Furry Lewis in Memphis, and also later on a couple of times I got to meet Pop Staples at various folk festivals, and that's really something to me, especially Pop Staples, who knew some of the original folk blues people. People who go back, met the people at the beginning of the kind of music that I became interested in, and that I continue to draw inspiration from. So probably meeting Pop Staples is one of the high points for me.
You just mentioned a moment ago Tom Paxton, one of the great folk artists of all time.
Yeah.
I'm just curious because I'm a fan of his. What is he like when you meet him up close?
He's super nice. He's very, very funny, and can be irreverently so. But he's just a great person. He's very generous with his. If he likes your music, he'll tell people about it, and he's very generous, and just continues to. I guess he was talking about retiring, but I think doing shows with Don Henry and John Besner with Don Juan has kept him having fun with music. So I'm grateful to them for that.
And at the moment, you're in New York City?
No, I'm in back home in Minnesota. I got home last night.
Okay, but you were in New York.
Yeah, I played in New York on Monday night.
How did that go?
It was great. It was really a nice night. It was a place called the City Vineyard. There's a bunch of, I guess, several places around the country now called the City Winery, and there's I guess City Winery in New York City was the first one. They've got a kind of a smaller venue right along Pier 26 on the Hudson River side of the West Side Highway, and that was my first time playing there. It was a beautiful place. They had very good sound, and it was a sold out show on a Monday night, and so it was a very, very, very nice experience.
Does going out on the road, the travel aspect of it, is it still exciting, or is it more of a grind?
Well, the traveling can be a challenge. The shows. When I get to the shows, I'm always grateful. But the traveling can be a real challenge, and that's not always fun.
When you're writing songs, do you prefer to write by yourself, or do you prefer co-writing?
I think I'm by myself most of the time, so it's easier for me to write on my own. I enjoy doing that. It's one of my favorite places to be, is in the middle of a song, knowing it's underway, and there's a certain point of inevitability where it's just a matter of kind of dotting I's and crossing T's before it's done. But that's my favorite place to be is in the middle of a song. So I like doing both, but I tend to write more on my own.
We have a listener, Kevin Hooper, and he's a lover of your music. And I wanted to ask you about your fans.
Uh-huh. When
you meet them, what is that experience like when they have this connection to you?
Oh, yeah. I'm very, very grateful for that. It's not something I take for granted at all. I'm very, very happy when my music finds a place in their lives. There's no better thing.
What's the best compliment someone has given you?
Have you lost weight? No, let's see. I'm trying to think. What's I don't know. I'm not sure if there's any one thing that comes to mind.
Maybe there's a touching thing that somebody told you, like a fan.
Oh, that happens a lot. Where a song, like I Saw a Stranger with Your Hair, it's a song that was on my first record, and it's often requested. And I remember, I thought it was as more of like a romantic song, that kind of a love song. But I remember the first time somebody came up to me in Salt Lake City and they said that song reminded her of when she heard that song, she would think of her son who had died not long before. And just when people tell me what the songs mean to them, it kind of expands my idea of what that song is. And it makes it easy for me to sing night after night because I realize it's not just my song. It's not just a song from my little life. It's a part of others' lives as well. And I have to respect that. And I'm grateful for that.
Is there anyone out there that you haven't worked with that you would like to?
Oh, there's probably tons of people. I think it might be fun to write a song with Bob Dylan, but I'm not counting on that happening.
I guess that would be intimidating.
Yeah, I think so.
What's the hardest thing about being an artist?
I guess probably being away from home.
Mm-hmm.
For me, as a traveling musician, I don't get to. The rest of the family doesn't get to travel enough, and I get to travel too much.
I was talking to this songwriter based out of Nashville. John Goodwin is his name. Mm-hmm. Great writer. And I was telling him about what I thought some of his songs, what I thought the inspiration, or not mm-hmm. inspiration, but what I thought they meant.
Right.
And time after time he was saying, I really like your take on that.
Mm-hmm.
I like that, but no, that's not what it's about.
Oh, the listener completes the song because they bring in their life experience and point of view to hearing the song. So that I think there's a 1,000 valid interpretations, or as many interpretations as there are listeners out there. So I don't. Sometimes I talk about what may have spurred a song. I brought it on, but I don't. I try not to talk about what the song means because the listener will find the meaning and make it a part of their lives or not.
At the top of the interview when I was mentioning a couple of the artists who have covered your work, iconic artists.
Mm-hmm.
Who do you think, and this might be putting you on the spot, but who did the best interpretation of a John Gorka song?
Well, Mary Chapin Carpenter never recorded any of my songs, but she sang my song "Flying Red Horse" live, I guess a time or two, and there was a festival where I got to hear her. She played it for me backstage, her version of it. It was great to hear her voice singing that song. I think there's a recent one that I found out about, but it's actually an older recording. It was a live recording of a Peter, Paul, and Mary concert where Mary Travers sings my song "Semper Fi" about my dad.
Wow!
It's a song about my dad, and which is a very kind of a neat thing just to hear again, hear that voice singing my words about my dad. Also, the first time my dad asked me to sing, I was probably 5 or so. He asked me to sing Puff the Magic Dragon, and which is a Peter, Paul, and Mary song. So it's there's a kind of a big circle there.
Absolutely. That's so cool. Wow. What is it that you like about folk music?
I feel like folk music can be about any part of a person's life. It's not just a song that will be the most commercial. It can be about any aspect of a person's life. I think that's probably the thing that did it to me. Jack Hardy said his definition of folk music was where the song is more important than the singer, and I would go for that as the listener is at least as important as the artist, if not more so.
One of the great things about communication today is you just can reach people beyond, something can go on the radio, but then somebody outside of the range of that station can hear it.
Yeah.
So we just don't know who will listen to this interview.
Right. Yeah. No, it's that's the kind of the magic of radio.
Yeah. But for that person who's listening, whoever they might be, very open-ended, what would you say to them? You can say whatever you want.
Well, I'm grateful for the time you've taken to listen to my music. I'm grateful for that. Even if I never meet you, or even if I never come to your town. And I guess this isn't really what you asked, but in terms of, like, sometimes people will ask if I have any advice for the people coming up, and it's a very different world, the music business. So I'm not sure if what anything I have to say has any value, but I think high standards, low overhead, and realistic expectations is the way to approach the making music today.
Wise words. The website is johngorka.com, Gorka, johngorka.com. How would you define John Gorka?
Oh, I used to refer to myself as an intense white guy from New Jersey because I was being listed as a contemporary singer-songwriter, and that seemed kind of boring. But I don't know. I don't know if I am a folk singer or not, but I'm a part of the folk world. I do see myself as a part of a tradition of people writing about their lives and about the world around them. But I don't know if I would call myself a lucky person.
Well, I've really enjoyed this time that we've had. You really made me relax.
Oh, thanks a lot. That's very nice. Thanks a lot for taking the time to do this, and I hope people will get to hear my music, and I hope that it finds a place in their lives.
Well, thank you very much. Until next time.
All right. Well, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.
My pleasure.